Good evening. Welcome to Game Over Vancouver here on SDPN Sports. My name is Parker Halliwell. You might know me as Parker's Pucks. And I'm here to break down an absolute heartbreaker of a game from the Vancouver Canucks. It's just me tonight riding solo once again. Man, this was a game that really early on I figured, all right, hey, normally I'd probably give up on this game, but I've got a show to do tonight. This is great. I'm going to just focus solely on like an analytical perspective, focus on how the Canucks are doing. I'm not going to get invested in the result. And the Canucks go and get me invested in the result. And they rip my heart to pieces, which is the MO for this team for the entirety of my life. And for some of you who might be older than me, the entirety of your lives as well, because we know that this team has they've never finished a job, really. And this one hurt in what was the Hughes Bowl, Hughes and Hughes versus Hughes, the return of Travis Green. So many storylines in this one that, really made it look like it wasn't going to be a very interesting game through the first bit. But as the Canucks bring it back, suddenly those storylines become interesting again. But the Canucks found a way to not win, and it's the old saying, it's the hope that kills you. And I don't know, over the years, the 3-4 years or whatever that I've been making videos here on YouTube about the Canucks and things along those lines, I don't know how many times I have had to say it's the hope that kills you. But it's a lot. I feel like I've said it a lot of times. So we'll talk about this game. We'll break it down piece by piece. I will take some of your questions closer to the end. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button here on SDPN. You can also find me on Twitter and YouTube at Parker's Pucks. However, let's break it down. We'll get to my thoughts on the game near to the halfway point. And then, of course, I mean, look, my main thought on the game, I'll spoil it for you. Man, this defense has to sort it out. Right. And look, they just injected a new body, Nikita Zadorov. He wasn't the problem tonight. I mean, he wasn't perfect, but the real problem was the taller guy at some points in this game. And the goaltending could have been a little bit better. But Canucks lose 6-5 in a heartbreaker. Not getting anything out of it. No points, no nothing. So let's break this one down. Let's start at the beginning. Because 4 minutes in, the Canucks have allowed 3 odd man rushes to develop this early into this hockey game. Something that, look, the New Jersey Devils are they're close to a 500 team because they score goals, right? They allow more goals than almost anybody in the league. They have some of the worst goaltending out there. When a guy like Vitek Vanacek is playing games for you, enough that's, might be a problem. So 3 odd man rushes 4 minutes in against a dangerous, a team that's pretty dangerous offensively. It's Jesper Bratt coming in 2-on-1. Hughes commits to the pass. Bratt just beats Demko with a shot. The one you'd like Demko to have, I'd like Hughes to maybe have Quinn Hughes, I should say. I got to specify. I'd like him to have a little bit more of an active stick, maybe. And at least not give Bratt so much time. I know you're supposed to take the pass on a 2-on-1, but when it gets that close to the net, you got to try to disrupt in some way. He didn't. Shot gets by Demko. Really the problem is that 2-on-1 shouldn't exist to begin with. Canucks do get on a power play though, and they do end up tying this ball game back up about 5 minutes later. Joshua draws a penalty. Joshua was pretty good tonight. And then the Canucks get lucky here as the centerman for the Devils, I think it's McLeod, breaks his stick on the faceoff. 30 seconds later, it's essentially a 5-on-3.5, guy without a stick. Hughes and Besser go give and go as McLeod is sort of defending that top left, essentially the right D man, but for the defending side, the left point, which is right where his bench is. So he puts a little bit of pressure on Hughes, and then he takes, as that pass gets by him, he takes the 2 steps to reach to grab a stick, and the Canucks take advantage. They go give and go back and forth. And then Miller jumps on a rebound. So it's essentially a 5-on-3 for 5 seconds, and the Canucks take advantage of that. JT Miller jumps on the rebound. He scores. We're tied at 1. Then the Devils answer right away because it's a Tyler Myers giveaway in the corner. And this is the first big error from Tyler Myers of this game. He gets the puck essentially in what looks like it's about to be a battle in his own corner. And what he should be doing here is either pinning it to the wall, reversing it, or getting some mustard on it off the glass and out. Instead, he tries to just sort of slide it. He does one of these sort of like little hooks on the stick to try to slide it up the wall, and he gets nothing on it. And there's a New Jersey Devil player right there. Normally, not a big deal. Guy in the corner. What's he going to do? Well, if you're looking, JT Miller's also there. He's the center. It's okay if he's putting a little bit of added pressure on the guy with the puck. But Nikita Zadorov is also on that side of the net, leaving Erik Haula completely all by himself. Jack Hughes finds him. Erik Haula doesn't make a mistake. He's all by himself in front, and it's 2-1. So a bit of an iffy one on Myers, and Zadorov shouldn't be where he was either. He should be on Erik Haula or in a better position to make a play on that pass. Canucks go back to the power play. They do absolutely everything but score. There was this big scramble. There was a great save on a cross-crease pass. A bunch of things that the Canucks could have capitalized on but failed to. And then right after this power play, you get Jack Hughes scoring. So add a little insult to injury being the Hughes Bowl. You get the first of Hughes goals tonight because Luke Hughes did score later. Point play off the draw. Essentially, they win the faceoff back. Defender plays it back to Jack Hughes, who's all by himself in the slot, and he's all in on Demko. He scores, makes it 3-1. And then on their 8th shot of the game, a minute and a half later, they make it 4-1. This is a puck that's just thrown on the net by Nate Bastian, or I think it's by Lazar, maybe. Canuck legend, Curtis Lazar. Bastian gets a piece of it, and then McLeod finds the rebound, and it's 4-1. Canucks do get one back to end the period. Zadorov makes a nice play here. He gains the zone, gets it to Teddy Bluger. Teddy Bluger's shot results in a big rebound. That was Ray Ferraro, by the way. Shout out to Ray Ferraro because he calls this so early in this game. He's like, Vanacek doesn't have confidence. There's going to be a lot of rebounds. And there absolutely was. And this is a big one. Rebound comes out. The New Jersey defender sort of gets in Vanacek's way, and Joshua has an open net to make it 4-2. So 4-2 after the first. And like I said, this is sort of where I'm thinking, they're probably losing this game. I'm just going to focus on it from, a top-down analytical view. And then, of course, the Canucks did make it interesting. But let's go to the second because the Canucks allowed 4 goals on 8 shots in the first and were generally atrocious defensively. They clean it up in the second period. It's much more low event. Canucks did take a too many men penalty. This was entirely Quinn Hughes' fault. Jumped on the ice, touched the puck before his guy got off. And that's not good because you are allowing the best power play in the league running at, I think it was like 36%, 33%, something like that, onto the ice. And they almost score. They get a big scramble in front. Canucks survive that one and then go to the power play right after. And then they get a couple good chances as well, but a shot off the post is what keeps this as a 2-goal game. And then this one's really frustrating because as the Canucks have this power play, Thatcher Demko starts tapping the stick. A good 5 seconds left in this power play, and Filip Hronek doesn't turn around. He just doesn't turn around. Breakaway pass to John Marino. Thank goodness it was John Marino coming out of the penalty box as Demko's forced to make a big save, essentially keeping this game somewhat alive and from getting to 5-2. Just like Filip Hronek, you got to wake up in those cases. Like the defense just wasn't good tonight. That was another big piece of it. Devils go back to the power play late in the second period. Joshua takes the point man down, and now it's Luke Hughes who scores from Jack Hughes. Just a bouncing puck, a weird broken play. Puck bounces back to him. Perfect shot, 5-2. Again, this game feels over at this point. Shots in the second period, 10-7. So Canucks down 5-2. Bad defense leading to essentially all 5 of these goals. But we go to the third. And look, if there's any team right now in the NHL that can come back from a 3-goal deficit in a period, it's probably the Vancouver Canucks, right? They are the highest scoring team in hockey. They've got the firepower, although, some of their guys haven't been feeling it lately. And an early power play. A chance, make it a 2-goal game in the early power play. It's about a minute and a half into the period, so they put PP2 out for this power play. And they do absolutely nothing. They hold the line like 6 times, it felt like. Like, they would lose the puck down low, the puck would attempt to get cleared, they would hold the line and keep a little bit of pressure on, but they got absolutely no chances out of it. The Canucks did get on the board, though. 13 minutes to play. Niels Höglander completely creates this one on his own. Goes in on the forecheck, breaks the play up. JT Miller on the wall, intercepts the pass, fires it in front to Brock Besser. He's got time. He goes backhand. He goes shelf. His league-leading 18th goal makes it 5-3. And then just 7 minutes later, they make it a little more interesting. Elias Pettersson wins the draw. A long shot by Quinn Hughes is barely tipped by Sam Lafferty to make it 5-4. And then Nikita Zadorov almost ends the game on the spot. Nikita Zadorov just gives a puck away up the middle in his own zone, and a great chance for New Jersey. Demko for 6 goals on 32 shots. A bad night for Thatcher Demko, obviously. However, the amount of chances that the Devils had that were like this one was egregious. But again, Demko makes a save, so they're still alive. And then the Canucks get this, the line that's been working back out there, essentially Höglander with Miller and Besser. They get back, and then Quinn Hughes makes his statement on the Hughes Bowl, right? He actually makes his impact. Sure, he had that assist on the Lafferty goal, but that was just a long shot that happened to get tipped in. Quinn Hughes makes a move at the blue line on Timo Meier. Timo Meier played it poorly, but Hughes defends the puck, makes a move to get past him. Tries to open the hips, take a shot. It gets blocked. Besser was there. Another guy was there. But it comes back to him, and then he keeps going down the wing. Fires again, low, far side on net. This is crucial in this from this play from Quinn Hughes, because if you're taking a shot coming down the left wing on a goalie who allows a lot of rebounds, where is the right winger, or one of the wingers, not necessarily the right winger, but where's the winger going to go, right? In this case, Brock Besser, the guy who was on the far side. He's going to go sit in front of the crease on the right-hand side, looking for a pass across that he can tip in, a rebound that he can jump on. Hughes obviously knows that, right? He's a smart guy. He's a smart player. He can shoot this. If he shoots this short side, it's probably, any rebound's probably going to the corner, right? If he shoots this far side and misses the net, then it's going all the way around to Timo Meier, who's still who can still get over there and retrieve the puck and go the other way for a chance. But so if you're going to shoot far side, you got to hit the net, and he did, and it was a low shot, hits the pad, goes right to Nils Höglander. Sorry, I said Brock Besser. It was Nils Höglander. Nils Höglander, who was waiting, and he ties it and makes it 5-5. And at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm fired up. They've pulled off this unreal comeback. There's 3.5 minutes that they just have to survive and at least take a point out of this game, and they have had all the pressure over the last few minutes, right? Over the last basically 10 minutes, they've had all the big chances, and it looks like they're about to do something. After this Nils Höglander goal, the Devils, who have been kind of feeble for the last handful of minutes, absolutely put their foot on the gas. They came out of nowhere. They took the entire third period off. They're like, we got a 3-goal lead. We're going to sit back. We're going to relax. We're not going to do too much, right? And the Canucks, all credit to them, all credit to their offense, said, all right, you're going to sit back. We're going to take it to you. We're going to try to tie this game. And they did. But then the Devils said, all right, fair play. We're going to come back now, and we're going to put all the pressure on. Immediately after this Nils Höglander goal, Demko is forced to make 3 huge saves, like grade A chances that he makes saves on. The Devils take a timeout with 2:42 to go. And then what feels like the game ending is Tyler Myers giving the puck away to Jack Hughes with 80 seconds to go. Partial breakaway. Tyler Myers hauls him down, essentially, reaches in for the poke check, doesn't get puck, takes him down. No call. Somehow. Normally on partial breakaways, anything's a penalty, right? You tap the guy and you just nick the pinky finger on the tap and he still gets a perfectly clean shot on. Boom, penalty. Slashing or a penalty shot, right? Refs call everything on any sort of breakaway. I am amazed Tyler Myers avoided a penalty on that play. And Jack Hughes is amazed too, right? He is screaming at the ref the whole way to the bench. So the Canucks are still alive. Now just 80 more seconds to survive. And they don't. They just don't. I didn't even write down the notes on what happened because I was frustrated. Jesper Bratt, rebound, a shot from the point. Canucks couldn't get the puck out of the zone. They iced it a couple of times there in that span. They just, Nils Höglander had a nice chip play out of the zone, but he was the only one who would get a puck over the blue line. Canucks just kept failing to clear. Shot from the point. Rebound comes out to, just like that Quinn Hughes shot that I just mentioned, right? Low, far side, rebound's going to come. If you got a guy waiting there, he's going to capitalize, right? Well, hits the pad, comes right to Jesper Bratt. Now, this puck got tipped like 2 or 3 times on the way to Demko, right? Obviously, he wants to control that rebound, but the puck moved a lot on him and deflects, comes over to Jesper Bratt, who has a wide open net. And that's it. 33 seconds on the clock. That's no time. No time. The Canucks got a shot off after that, but obviously didn't go in. And yeah, overall, a game that after the first period and after the second period, I had completely written off. I had no more emotion for this game. I said, they lost, whatever. We'll break it down on SDPN. It'll be a good time. The Canucks went and they gave me hope. They went and they gave me hope. And that's frustrating. It's genuinely like it's annoying that they do this. Where like, if you're going to do it, at least finish the job, right? They come back from 5-2. So if you want to take the moral victory stance, right? I like to have some pluses and some minuses. Obviously, my thoughts on the game, right? Let's go on a trip down the plus lane, right? What was good for the Canucks in this game? Let's start out with a moral victory. like I hate it, right? Moral victories were great when this team wasn't very good, but when the team's actually winning some games, moral victories don't matter really anymore, right? They've shown that they can be a good team, right? They've shown that they can hang with some of these teams. Moral victories don't really matter anymore. What they did show, for how bad the defense was, the resilience was great. Genuinely, right? After the first period where they allow 4 goals and their defense was really bad, in the second period, their defense was pretty good. Genuinely. They make, there's that scrambly goal on the power play to end the second period to make it 5-2. That's not really the defense's fault. It's a power play goal against the best power play in the league, right? Whatever. So yeah, the defense going from allowing 4 in the first to a power play goal in the second, I think that's a good bounce back, right? And then, of course, you have the goal late, which is a defensive breakdown. And the Canucks broke down defensively for the last 2.5 minutes. So the defense was really bad for 23 minutes tonight. The first 20 and the last 3. The most crucial 23 minutes, really. Also, the resilience from the forwards, right? You can go into a third period down 5-2. I don't know what the odds were in that scenario. I don't know what the betting markets were saying. I bet the Canucks were 10-1 underdogs, though, right? No, teams don't come back down 3 in a period very often, right? I mean, the Sharks did it today. If the Sharks can do it, so can the Canucks. But they had that resilience. They had that fight back. They scored 1 7 minutes in, 14 minutes in, and then 16 and a half minutes in. They got their job done. And that's something that if we're going to pick out some moral victories, which I said clearly, like we are going to reach for a couple of moral victories here. That's something that we can look at, and that's great. So the battle back was great. The problem was really how much they had to battle back from. Other positives from this game. Let me verify this in the NHL.com box score. Noah Juleson had 6 hits. Dakota Joshua had 8. 8 hits for Dakota Joshua. I thought Dakota Joshua played really good tonight. He scored the goal. He had some good forecheck going. But by far, my first star of this game, at least from a Canucks perspective, it's Nils Höglander by a mile. He was fantastic. He was an effort machine. He was like if Connor Garland actually did what he looked like he was doing. You know what I mean? Garland looks like he's doing a lot. Canuck Clay always says, he looks very busy. Nils Höglander is busy, and he just gets in there and he just works. So I loved his game tonight. He played 14:54. He is playing with Besser and Miller now, I think. They had a couple of the big goals. Phil DiGiuseppe was a good experiment. He worked out for a few weeks. That is now Nils Höglander's spot. He has been he was the Canucks' best player tonight, and it's not really close. Also, Elias Pettersson gets 2 assists. He wasn't fantastic tonight, but it's nice that he gets on the score sheet a little bit. Those are the guys who did great. And Brock Besser matching his goal total from last year. In what game is this? This is game number 16, and 9 is 25, and 1's 26. Game number 26 of the year Brock Besser has as many goals as he did last year, right? So if we're going to take some positives out of this game, that's what we'll take. We cannot take a point, unfortunately. It would have been nice if we could. I mean, like, come on, New Jersey, like you're on the East. It doesn't matter if we get points. Why can't we just do a little handshake? We'll go to OT. Everyone's happy. Everyone gets a point. We'll make it a 3-point game. Everybody's happy. Devils, did not go with the gentleman's agreement. On to the minuses, and we'll start with the overall stuff, right? The atrocious defending. The first period, primarily. The defense was so bad. If you go on Natural Stat Trick and you look at the heat map, and if you filter it to the first period, there is the brightest red circle around the Canucks net of chances that the Devils had. That was critical to this game. The Canucks defense in the first period was absolutely awful. Way too many dangerous chances. The analytics don't really back it up. Like, they say that the Devils only had 5 high danger chances in the first. The thing is, they just converted on all of them, and they were all very good chances. They were like extra high danger. I know that's not really, there's no way to quantify that, but they were extra dangerous just because of the mistakes that the defense was making. My second big minus is that the Canucks obviously completely gave up, right? They battled back to tie the game, and then they didn't control the puck after that. That goal from Niels Höglander occurred with 3 minutes and 26 seconds to go. I would be surprised if the Canucks had 30 seconds of possession time in the next 3 minutes that followed before Jesper Bratt scored that goal. It's probably like 20 seconds of possession time in that 3 minute span. They quit. They completely quit. That's just as bad to me as the defending, right? It's the quit on the team, especially on the if you're a defenseman here, right? You just watched your forwards go out and completely salvage you, right? You blew it in the first period. Your forwards came out and they pulled it right back, and you repay them by just allowing the Devils to walk all over you at the end, right? That hurts. That dressing room, cannot be a fun place. If the Canucks pull this game off, that dressing room is bumping, right? Like, what a comeback, like what a battle back, yada, yada. But that one goal, it kills everything, right? It absolutely blows this entire thing away. The other thing is, the Canucks need to shoot the puck more. They had 33 shots, but the thing, 7 shots in the second period, right? And third period shots were 13-13 when score effects are taken into account. The Canucks are going to get the majority of the shots because the Devils sat back. First 2 periods, Canucks had 20 shots against their second worst goaltender essentially in the league. The Devils have the 31st goaltending average, or save percentage, not goaltending average, 31st in the league in team save percentage at like 873 coming into this game. And it didn't get better. They allowed 5 goals on 33 shots. Vanecek was a rebound machine. You gotta put more pucks on net, especially on the power play. And the biggest one, and Ray Ferraro called it on the broadcast, the biggest culprit was Andrei Kuzmenko. Andrei Kuzmenko was gun shy tonight. He had 2 shots on goal in this game when he probably could have had 5. There was, especially that play on the power play late. He tries to make that one extra move, make the perfect play. You're against a goalie who cannot control a rebound. Get pucks on net, right? You look at the Canucks goals that they scored in this one, right? That Höglander goal at the end of the game was a rebound. The Besser goal was in tight. The Joshua goal, wasn't that a rebound? Yeah, it was. The rebounds were so prevalent in this game, and Kuzmenko wasn't putting shots on net, and the Canucks just needed to put more shots on net. I saw someone mention in the chat, the Canucks power play just needs to shoot. Normally, I'm not going to criticize a power play that is top 5 in the NHL, right? This power play is genuinely good, but it didn't feel like they got the memo for this one, right? They go 1 for 4, which isn't terrible, right? However, the memo should have been, hey, this guy is a rebound machine. Ray Ferraro had the memo coming into this game. Canucks just needed to, fire shots on net. I think that was a missed opportunity. Kuzmenko -3 in this game. The only player on the team who was worse than a -1. Really, almost everyone was even, surprisingly, in this game, because everyone sort of evened themselves out. Miller was a -1. He had 3 points, though. Lafferty was a -1. He had a goal. Höglander was a +2. And then the only other forward who wasn't at even was Andrei Kuzmenko at a -3. I don't even know how you pull that off, right? Like, you don't you have line mates? But Kuzmenko got relegated down to the bottom 6 tonight, and for good reason. And we're going to, I wonder who's going to be playing with Pettersson and Mikheyev on Thursday, because I think they're going to keep Höglander, Miller, and Besser together. And then, maybe it's just Lafferty with Mikheyev and Pettersson. We will see. I think that's most of my thoughts. Obviously, the defense wasn't good. Demko could have been better. Obviously, 6 goals on 32 shots, right? He makes a couple more saves, and it's a completely different ball game. However, I mean, some of the chances that the Devils had were just absolutely egregious to be allowing in this game. So that's my thoughts on this one. I've been talking for 26 minutes or so. We'll take a few more minutes here while I'm here. And maybe we'll take a couple of questions. Normally we do a presser type of deal where we take some viewer questions. Folks, while you're here, make sure you're subscribed to SDPN. Hit the like button. You can find me, Parker's Pucks, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff, X, whatever. Folks, I guess one more thing that I want to note is this absolute stagnation that the Canucks have shown here, right? You look at their last 9 games, it has been a rotation of wins and losses, right? They lose to the Kraken, they beat the Sharks. They lose to the Avs, they beat the Kraken. They lose to the Sharks, they beat the Ducks. They lose to Vegas, they beat the Flames, and now they lose to the Devils. So, folks, if you're good at patterns, hammer the Canucks on the money line against the Wild if you're a betting man. Not that I recommend it, but I mean, hey, if the pattern remains true, the Canucks are locks to win on Thursday. What's nice is, obviously they built up the buffer that they did at the beginning of the season. It would be nice if some of these losses were overtime and they could have built up a couple more points, but they fall to 3rd in the Pacific. The Kings now overtake them as they have 4 fewer games played and have a 4-point buffer. Canucks are still are tied in points with a 4 games in hand. Vegas has a 4-point lead. On the bright side, though, the Canucks do have a 10-point lead over the Calgary Flames, who lost to the Wild tonight, which is nice. But the Canucks play the Wild on Thursday, so make sure you're subscribed for Game Over Vancouver on Thursday night. Have that notification bell on, because the Wild, after firing their coach, have won all 4 games, and they're sort of getting back into the mix here, and could be a bit scary. And the Canucks need to be on their A game on Thursday. All right, folks, let's get into the presser. Let's take 2 or 3 viewer questions that we can answer, that we can break down. One thing that is being noted, Coach Ryan says, time for a DeSmith reset. Yeah, the Canucks have been riding Demko lately, and it hasn't really been working. Demko has been the epitome of the trend that the Canucks are having, a win one, lose one. He has had a great game and then a not so great game, back and forth. I think it's DeSmith's net on Thursday. And I see no reason why it wouldn't be, because then the Canucks play Thursday, Saturday, and then they don't play till Tuesday after that. So they do get a 2-day rest. They obviously probably want to get DeSmith in for 1 game this week anyways, because Demko started 8 of the last 9. And it makes sense for it to be the game against the Wild, and then Demko gets Saturday night on Hockey Night in Canada. Lots of negativity for Myers, which I think is fair. I'm just looking. There's a lot of hate on Tyler Myers in this one, and I hate to say it. I mean, you're not really wrong. I think Myers and Kuzmenko were the two roughest players on the Canucks side tonight. Peter says, would you try to push for a trade for Tanev? Bear would be nice. After what happened today, this team needs a defensive-minded defenseman. Do you think Brandon Saad would be nice to have as a 2-way forward? I don't want to think about Brandon Saad right now. This team, I don't really hate their forward group right now. I'm okay sticking with where they're at, because I think guys like Kuzmenko bounce back. However, the Ethan Bear, Chris Tanev thing is really interesting, because Ethan Bear's free. And Ethan Bear isn't like, if you bring Ethan Bear back, suddenly you can make Tyler Myers expendable. If you sign Ethan Bear, Carson Soucy comes back, Tyler Myers becomes essentially your number 6/number 7. The problem is, in any case of an injury, he's probably a guy that you'd want to keep around. However, if you're able to trade him and get all that salary back, if this team is genuinely interested in giving up assets for this year's team, and they've done it a little bit with Zadorov, right? The 2026 third. That's a 15-year-old. I'm not too worried. But if this team is genuinely wanting to make a push to improve the defense, there is a pretty clear path in how to do that, right? It would be trading Tyler Myers if you can get something. The thing is, I don't think you can make that move until the trade deadline, just because that cap hit is so big that I think it's going to be tough to move that salary away until some teams accrue more cap around the deadline. So I think that's something that would have to happen later. But if you could bring in an Ethan Bear and a Chris Tanev, I mean, let me pull up the old Canucks depth chart page here. Because what would that give you? That would give you Hughes and Hronek. That would give you Ian Cole and someone like Chris Tanev. And then you would go like Ethan Bear and Nikita Zadorov as your third pair. Actually, I didn't even include Soucy. That almost bumps Zadorov out of the lineup when Soucy's back. But yeah, then you'd have 7 NHL defensemen, right? If you move on from Tyler Myers. I think if you are going, I think the Canucks need to add another defenseman regardless. And I think it's probably going to be Ethan Bear because he has no acquisition cost. And then any defenseman that you move out, including Tyler Myers, you are going to have to move one back in. If you are genuinely trying to improve the team for this year, then you can trade Tyler Myers for probably nothing if you're not, and probably retaining a little bit, and then buying a defenseman from someone else like they did last year with Filip Hronek. So look, this is a very active GM. Patrick Allvin is not afraid to huck some draft picks around, to make some moves, to roll the dice. If anyone's going to do it, it's probably Patrick Allvin. I'm honestly like, I have trust. I have trust in what he's doing, right? I mean, you look at the moves that he's made. They are all looking really good right now, right? Before he got hurt, Carson Soucy was great. Pius Suter was the lifeblood of this penalty kill. And the reason that it's not doing so well right now, a big part of that is because they don't have Pius Suter winning faceoffs. Pius Suter had like a 55% faceoff rate on the penalty kill. That's hard to do because when you're on the penalty kill, you have to put your stick down first, right? The other team gets to pick what side the faceoff's on, especially at the start of the power play, and they get to see how you line up before they line up. So it's hard. It's hard to be a positive guy on D-zone faceoffs. On the penalty kill. But Pius Suter was really good at that. Winning a faceoff obviously takes 20 seconds off the clock right away and forces them to make a zone entry. But that was a good move. I think the Nikita Zadorov move. Was he great tonight? Not particularly, but was he, I think he was better than Noah Juleson was. I don't think Juleson's only in the lineup for PK, obviously. But, the cost to acquire Nikita Zadorov was essentially nothing. It was Anthony Beauvillier in a third 2 years, 2 years extra down the line. Very low acquisition cost, and he's getting used to the system, right? I'm not going to judge Nikita Zadorov on 2 games after having 1.5, maybe 2 practices with the team, right? So we'll see how that goes. Folks, let's see. Should we take one more? There's not a lot of... someone's asking why you just drop him. You can't just drop him. You'd have to put him on waivers and someone have to claim him. No one's doing that for that $6 million cap hit. And Darren also says Tanev is 34. Please don't trade for him. It would be a rental. It would be a pure rental, which I don't know if I love the idea of. We are at the 34-minute point though, so I think we're going to call it there, folks. Make sure you're subscribed here on SDPN. I'm here about once every 3 or 4 games, so make sure you're subscribed here. You can also find me, Parker's Pucks, on YouTube and on Twitter. Folks, let's get those likes up while you're here. We're at 28 with 106 of you in here, so hit that like button before we wrap up. It makes me look good, and I like looking good in front of the big Steve Dangle Podcast Network brass. So otherwise, though, I appreciate you guys showing out after a heartbreaking loss. I'm sure if that game wasn't interesting to the end, most of you wouldn't have been here, but I appreciate you joining me nonetheless. the less. If you missed any part of this, you can rewind back to the beginning. You can find it on your favorite podcast platform. Just type in SDPN into Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever, and it will show up, and you'll see, Game Over Vancouver, if you want to listen to it on your way to work and relive this horrific night for the Vancouver Canucks. Otherwise, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.